welcome back. It's Carrie and this is Keep It Simple DIY. I am in Shelftember and I am working on using things up that I have through my pantry. So this video is going to be quite a few different little recipes that I'm doing, that I'm using up things that I have. So onion jam. I found that the recipe that I used for onion jam wasn't my favorite. I do like onion jam on like ham and cheese sandwich, but this one wasn't great. So I'm going to try making an onion jam sourdough bread. So I've already saved about 50 grams of starter back and put it in my fridge. So I'm going to use all the starter that's left here, which should be somewhere around 100 grams. And then I'm going to add my onion jam, some water, some flour, and we'll mix it up. So let's see, we'll tear the scale. This is going to come together really quickly. And I'm using a little bit different ratios than I typically do just because I didn't want to have a ton of starter left, and I'm going to use the same water and flour ratio, but I'm going to be adding in the onion jam, which means that I will actually have a more hydrated dough. We have 79 grams. That works fine. Typically, I like to do around, I don't know, 50 to 100, so 79 is good. 350 grams of water. Oops, I'm spilling it. I might say a little on the shy side. That's 325. We'll go with that. And now our onion jam. It's a good seal. Still smells good, just not as good as I had hoped. Okay, gonna mix it up with the Danish dough whisk. I feel like this is just a necessary tool for making sourdough. This is my first time trying anything like this, so we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it turns out delicious, that's the goal. Okay, and we're teared. We need 500 grams of flour. Ooh. $4.96. That's good. So at this point, all I need to do is just mix this until it's combined. And then I'm going to let it sit on the counter for an hour to autolyze. Basically just make sure that all the flour gets hydrated. And then we'll start our stretch and folds every half hour after that. We'll see how I do too with shaping later on this dough, because the more hydrated the dough is, the harder it is to shape it. And this is definitely a more hydrated dough than what I'm used to working with. All right, that's it. I am going to put this on my back counter. I'm going to set the lid just on it. I'm not going to actually tighten the lid down. I'm just gonna slightly put it over it and let everything come together. We'll be back in a bit. All right, it's been 1 hour. I'm going to come in here and do some stretch and folds. And this dough is way wetter than what I'm used to working with. So we might have to come in here at some point and do coil folds. We'll see. Building the glutens. There we go. Now it's starting to come together. Hopefully this tastes good. So once I get done with this, I need to let it sit for another half hour. Then we will do stretch and folds, let it sit for a half hour. We want to do this stretch and fold process a total of 4 times. and with it sitting for half an hour in between each time. All right, there we go. All right, this is stretch and fold number 2. I'm going to add a little bit of salt this time. And I'm going to go get my hand wet so it'll make it so it doesn't stick. I've noticed my hand smells a lot like onions. Okay, I'm gonna let this rest for another 30 minutes and then I will do stretch and folds, let it rest for 30 minutes again, and do one last set of stretch and folds, and then I will show you the final step. I'm not going to show each of the stretch and folds, it's going to be the same as this. I am making my first Shelftember dinner, and actually you guys had some great suggestions for me. So one suggestion was to use the gluten-free macaroni and cheese in a chili mac or a hamburger mac soup. So I'm going to make a chili mac soup, and someone else recommended that I could use the tomato soup that I didn't really like in a chili. So I'm going to actually use both of these ingredients up, and it'll be fantastic. This recipe, I will link below the recipe that I'm roughly following. I'm basically substituting, it called for a can of Rotel, which I have Rotel, but I chose to go for the Hunt's diced tomatoes in chili sauce because instead of using chili beans, I'm going to be using regular beans and the tomato soup. I can't remember if I just told you, but I'm using onion that was canned because then I don't have to cut it up. And I will be throwing all of these packets of cheese in there as well with the macaroni. And then at the very end, we'll see if we need any extra cheese or anything like that. So I already have a pound of ground beef in the Instapot. It is almost cooked all the way through. And once this is cooked, I'm going to just basically dump all of the ingredients in, and then I'm going to cook this on the rice setting. I always cook pasta on the rice setting, but in this case, 2 of the boxes are actually rice pasta, so that'll work out perfectly. And the beef that I'm using is the 97.3. It's a really lean beef. There's no extra grease in here. And it's actually cooked, so I'm going to just start dumping away. So I have 4 little jars of tomato soup. And this is a quick come together dinner. A lot of times I throw things in the Instapot and they don't turn out. I've never had it not turn out when it was a noodle thing, but if I use rice, it doesn't turn out a lot of times. So we've got that. And then I did drain and rinse my beans. And then here's this sauce. Uh-oh. Hopefully we don't get to the max fill line. Okay, I'm gonna add some salt. And I'm going to add a little bit of chili powder. I am using, the tomatoes were in a medium spice. And last time I made chili, it was too spicy. So I'm gonna try to not have that happen today. Where is the max fill? Right there, okay. I think we'll be okay. This might even get me some freezer meals because it looks like this is going to make a ton, and I don't want to eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next few days. This is like dump and go to the max. Going to mix this up and see how much liquid we need. I need to have the pasta all be completely covered in liquid in order for it to cook all the way. Ooh, it looks good already. It's not even cooked, but it looks delicious. You guys, this is a great idea you both had. Okay. The noodles are covered, but I think I would like it to just have a little bit more liquid, so I did get some water out. I don't need all of that though, maybe just that much. Okay, so this will be a little bit soupy, but not a ton by the time it's done. So let me show you what it's looking like before I cook it. Okay, there it is. Let's get it going. Put that on sealing. All right, I have done quite a few stretch and folds here. I have a bowl with a cloth and some rice flour in it so that we can turn our dough out onto it. For now, I'm going to get it onto my very lightly floured surface, and then I'm going to shape it, and then I'll stick it in the bowl. The bowl is coated with rice flour, not all-purpose flour or bread flour, so that's what we're using here. This crock pot is a chili mac soup, which you're also seeing in this video. I guess it's not really soup. So let's see here. Let's get this out. Oh, this is gonna be a sticky mess. Try to not drop the bowl. Okay. Already ripped the hole in it. We're just gonna go for it today. Okay, I'm gonna call that. Oh, geez. Let me wash my hands and then we'll get that covered with a little more flour. All right, let's get some rice flour on here. I am hoping this doesn't stick too bad. I am not a sourdough expert, and I don't have experience with higher hydration doughs, and this isn't even that high of a hydration dough. It's just high for me. There's some spots that are already sticking a little bit, so I'm trying to just unstick them. Okay, cool. I am going to cover this and stick it in the fridge. It's actually going to be in the fridge until I decide to cook it. So it might be tomorrow night that I cook it. It might be the next night. The longer it sits in the fridge to cold ferment, the more sour it will be. So we'll see which day we do it. But for now, into the fridge. Ooh. Okay, this looks really good. Hopefully everything's cooked all the way through. Let's give it a stir. It's good. It's missing something. Maybe some salt. That's all it is, I think, is that it just needs some salt. Add quite a bit of salt. I'm going to mix that salt in. All right, it's now the next day. I actually had to put this dough into a bigger bowl earlier. I used the small bowl, which is what I use for my small loaves, but this was a regular size loaf. So it proofed significantly in the fridge. I am just going to turn it out. And this, I am hoping, turns out. This is questionable because I just dumped that whole jar of jam in there. I'm going to give it just a regular old slice. I don't do any fancy anything because, well, it's just not my style. And I do have the Dutch oven in the oven. It's been in there while it was preheating. And I'm going to get this in there. Ooh, this dough looks a little big for my pot. All right. I'm going to put this in covered for about 20-25 minutes, and then I will uncover it and let it go for another 20-25 minutes. It's been about 20 minutes, and I have found that bread doesn't take that long to cook here compared to what most of the recipes say. So let's see though. All right, that one didn't actually rise very much. So in we go again for another 20-25 minutes. All right, our loaf of bread just came out. It's looking a little bit flatter than my bread typically gets, but this is also higher hydration. I am really inexperienced in that. It's definitely a little misshapen, which could be from the hydration or the fact that I had to change it from one bowl to another. So I am just going to let this sit here for quite a few hours, and I will bring you with me when I slice into it. I'm interested to see how this is going to taste. This could be a complete disaster. I've never had an experience where bread was a complete disaster, but I literally dumped that whole jar into here. So let's cut it open and see how it's looking. This could be disgusting. Let's hope it's good. Okay, not bad. A good crumb. Yeah. This is better than I was expecting for, forgetting to let it rise. And here's the other half from this side. Not bad. What do you think? Think it's gonna be good? I don't know. I mean, it smells exactly like the jam. Okay. This would be great with grilled cheese. This would make fantastic grilled cheese. It tastes exactly like the jam. So the parts of the jam that I wasn't so fond of are the parts of the bread that I'm not so fond of. But I think I like it better in the bread than I did otherwise. It's sweet because there's sugar in the jam. So that was a success. Neat. All right, I did it. I made grilled cheese. This would be better with cheddar. I used mozzarella because that's what was open and it was going to be going bad soon. And yes, I am sitting on my couch. Well, I thought I was filming for you and I wasn't. So I've made myself a ham and cheese sandwich. I'm going to grill it. This is the onion jam bread. I found this ham in the freezer because our freezer died and I had to empty everything out. So I didn't even know this was in there. So I didn't even mention it on the freezer tour. So I am going to grill this sandwich up and this is going to be lunch. And it has a lot of ham on it because I had a lot of ham and I didn't realize it was that much until I put it on. All right, here's the onion jam bread with the grilled ham and cheese. Lunchtime. I also have some tomatoes, those ones that were about to go bad. And I have them soaking in some oil and vinegar and salt and pepper. That's balsamic vinegar in there. And these are delicious. All right, I canned some potatoes and this jar didn't seal, so I'm gonna make some potato salad. I have just a little bit left in this mayonnaise, just a little bit left in the mustard. Same with just a little bit left in the relish. And then I was able to get these green onions from my garden. So I am going to use up quite a bit of things in this Shelftember meal. Hi, Milo. I don't have a celery red. Well, I mean, there is some in the garden, but I'm just going to use celery salt. I'm just going to use celery salt instead of regular salt, and that should be good. Garlic powder, paprika, and black pepper. And I do like to mash some of my potatoes. Not all of them, but just enough. Good. Definitely could use more mayonnaise, but that's okay. I do have more mayonnaise in the garage. I just don't quite feel like going to get it. There we go. All right, it's finally time for another dinner. I am coming at you looking grubby as heck because I've been working on my kitchen project for the last few days and, well, really the last few weeks. But something interesting, our fridge died the other day, and then we got the new fridge in, but the new fridge has issues. So we have the fridge, but they're going to swap it out this week. So I haven't really been cooking a lot because the fridge is, you know, on the fritz, and it's hard to cook when I have to keep everything in the garage. This fridge actually functions to keep things cold, so I can keep things in here, but like I don't want to bring everything in just to have to like move it all back out to get the new fridge and then let the new fridge cool off. So anyways, I am finally cooking. This Shelftember has not gone the way that I've planned, which is fine. But what I'm doing right now is I am peeling some carrots that I grew in the garden, and I'm just going to make a quick and easy sheet pan dinner with some apple and Gouda sausages, just nice and quick and easy. And I'm peeling these. I did just wash all of the carrots. There's a ton of them. I'm probably going to be canning some carrots soon. This was my biggest harvest of carrots yet. And so I have fresh carrots from the garden. I had a potato harvest that wasn't very big. It's actually right there behind me. That's it. So potato harvest wasn't great, but it was good enough. I have a squash from the garden. I actually have a few, but I'm only going to use one. And then I'm going to use some potatoes, and that'll be our dinner tonight. So we are not exactly using stuff up that I've needed to use up, but I am using up fresh produce while it's fresh. So that is a win. I'm going to get this marinade started. I'm going to put in some olive oil, and I'm not measuring, a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and this marinade's only going to go on the vegetables, not on the apple and Gouda sausage. So balsamic vinegar, some Dijon mustard. This is just something I found on Pinterest. If I remember, I will link it, but I have to remember which recipe I looked at. And then some honey. And then salt, pepper, garlic powder, SPG. Anyone know who I'm referencing there? I'll give it a second and I'll tell you. And then some thyme. Thyme isn't my favorite, so I won't be using a ton of it, but we'll put it in anyways because I think it'll add good flavor. SPG is a Sam the Cooking Guy thing, so if you haven't watched Sam the Cooking Guy, you should go check him out. He is quite funny, and his food looks very delicious. Just a little. Okay, marinade is not mixed yet, but it's there. Cut up all the veggies. I am going to slice them on a diagonal because that's what Kim on the Wads does, and I think it looks cool. So we're gonna do it. here, I'll do that. Okay. Garden potatoes. I'm going to just put some oil down on the pan for the sausage. I did have to thaw it in the microwave a bit because I had this thawed a little later than I planned to. Anyways, into the oven, 475 until it's done. I'll show you when it's done. I did end up taking the sausage out for a little bit and letting the rest of the veggies cook, and then I put the sausage back on. I also increased the heat to 400 and put some of each. There we go. Hopefully the next few weeks of Shelftember go a little more like planned. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.